Looking at another DS Lite. Once again, can't go past Old Faithful, can ya? So this one's obviously a bit knackered. Doesn't turn on. Bottom screen's flashing, top screen's doing nothing. We know what that is. The issue we got as well is that hinge is totally broken. So I got on the old AliExpress. Oh, this is the first time I bought one of their shells. So we're going to do a complete reshell of it. See if this is any good or if it's trash. You know what? It actually doesn't look too bad. Looks to have everything we need. Might need a hinge piece. I've got them. It's got a protective piece of plastic on there with all the buttons, springs, screws, everything. So we've got that. We're going to do the top screen. We're going to do a complete reshell. See how it looks at the end. See if it's any good. See if we have to make modifications. The third-party parts aren't always the best quality, so let's get stuck into it and find out if it's any good. Oh, that was tight. That was unexpected. We have corrosion. Womp womp. Now I've had that in that spot more than once, and that stops it from booting up usually as well. The fact that it does try and, like, we get the screen flash, means that it's at least attempting to boot, whereas every other time I've had that from memory, it just flat out refuses to boot. So it might not be an issue. Give it a clean. It doesn't turn on, we'll look at that under the scope and do what we always do with that and run a wire front to back. Seems to be quite common liquid damage there. Guess it leaks through that section there where the battery, next to the battery, and I can't see anything on that. Oh, you can a little bit there. Clean that off too. Wi-Fi board out of the way. Get rid of the antenna cable. Unplug the microphone. 2 more little Phillips heads. Seal the board up by pushing it from the front screen, bottom screen, roll it over, disconnect the top screen. Probably replace that digitizer too, there's marks all over that. But we'll do the shell stuff first. Alright, so we can take our hinge off, or our shoulder piece, whatever you want to call it. 2 long Phillips in this piece. Once they're off, you can pull that off, and there'd usually be one of the actual twisty bits of the hinge. Let's get one. So that is usually in there. Get that off. Line that piece up so it goes through that slit. There you have it. No tears in that. Something small, something flat and pointy, so you can dig down against the edge, lift up. The deeper down you get in there, the easier it's going to come out. One of the testing screens. Let's quickly try and see if that corrosion was the problem or if it was the screen still, for sure. Top screen might be alright. Okay, we're going to have to investigate this corrosion issue further before we go throwing a top screen at it, because that one does work, it's just got dead pixels. So we're going to have to go under the microscope. So I saw the corrosion down here. So we've got those two there, which obviously corroded, but that just looks like it runs to the ground plane to me. Test them, see if they still see each other. I mean, it's still saying it's continuous between them, which to me looks right. And if you look on the back, it's those two there. Even if we go, probably can't see this, front to back, left to right, and still here it's continuous. So I don't think that's the problem. Given we got top screen issue, let's look over at that connector. Okay. This is probably our problem here. Let's look at the other side. Where is it? There. So that one runs to there. What's that? D9, so it's a diode. That one, that one's a bit harder to tell. That looks like it goes to there though. Let's do some testing on this. Got the multimeter in diode mode or continuous continuity mode. Okay, you can see that. I can't really tell where that one's running, if it goes that way or not. Alright. I was referring to some pictures of the board which have been sanded down, all the different layers, so I can see where these traces should be running. So pretty much this is one I fixed already, but that runs to that, which then runs all the way down here. So if we go, got it on continuous mode, continuity mode, whatever, blah blah blah. We can see that to there. So that goes from there to there to there through the various layers of the board. The one we've got that's faulty, which has that corroded part, no good, not continuous. So if I run a wire from here to here, that might be alright, that might get us through. So that's what I'm going to do now. We'll go back under the microscope and do that. So this is our first point to run it from. Flux it up. And soak it. Some solder. There we go. Let's get our wire. Alright. Steady as she goes. I don't know how solid that looks. Let's see. Look, it might do. First things first, let's make sure that it actually works. Alright. Let's plug that in and try it, see what happens. Ah, look at that. So that wire works. That means that top screen in that shell might work alright. I should test that before using the brand new screen. Put that to the side. There's the wire there. Let's test this screen. Man, I never would have found that if I didn't refer to that picture of the board layers. Oh, I mean that screen's still shot anyway. So we'll have to use the new screen still. But it works. So I'll have to tidy that wire up, make it a bit neater and nicer so it doesn't get in the way of anything. And we can carry on. This was just meant to be a simple reshell. And here we are, running wires again. Let's carry on. Just realised we don't actually need to do anything with this top piece now, because the screen's buggered. Oh, actually, we need the speakers. We need the speakers off the screen. We'll get the speakers. The reshell has, what's that, adhesive. It's got the lens in there, so I've got new lenses, so I don't have to use that one. Doesn't look too bad, but I don't have to use it. I'll keep everything fresh. Those 4 screws out. Slide the top and the bottom piece apart from each other. I've got no fingernails at the moment. This is hard. Oh. Pop it off. Now, I mean, since that screen's buggered, I can just cut that and make it easier, but what we'll do is we'll do it the correct way so you can see how to do it if you need to do it. So I usually like to get the antenna and the microphone out of the way first. Oh yeah, we need the antenna and the microphone for the reshell as well. Forgot about that. Push that off. I mean, if you can be a bit more gentle with the ribbon, with it when you're doing it, it'd be ideal rather than getting all these creases and stuff in it. But what you need to do, try and get this in, just roll it in on itself. Tightly. Ta-da! So that's broken, no good to me. So these speakers off. It's no good to me. This is what we want, brand new. I don't have many of these left. I'll buy some more. Alright. Get these speakers reattached. Shh, flux. You know the drill by now, surely. Beauty. Reattach them. Remember, there is little markings on there if you forget. Boom, boom, boom. That is ready for our top shell. Let's see what we're working with here. Let's see if it fits together as well. So we've got our lens and that for the digitizer. Also, I've got some adhesive here for it, I think. Alright, something like that. So when that lens sits on it, you can actually stick to it. Have I done a great job of that? Probably not. These have little protective plastic sheets on it too. What I might do is get the backing of this off, get the screen into it, and then put the lens on from the front after. I don't usually do it that way. I'm going to run the ribbon through as well. So when running the ribbon, nice and tight. Once again, roll it in on itself as tight as possible. Make sure you got your little metal piece in, so you can shove it through that when you do it. So let's go. Roll it down tightly. Nice and long. Straight through. Should be rolled through like that. If it's not rolled through like that, you will potentially break that cable. So let's get these in before we forget about them. Voila. Let's get the backing of this peeled up. Get that screen plonked on. I always keep it in the bubble wrap to try and stop dust getting on it. A lot of the screens do actually have protective pieces on them like those lenses do, but this batch that I bought did not. Alright. Well, there you go, we're on. Ta-da! Might do before putting this lens back on is we'll get the backing put back on so nothing falls out. Now at this point, just tape those speaker cables in position if I can find it. No insulation required on the back of these screens like the bottom screen, so they don't come into contact with any electronics, boards not behind it or anything like that. So we're Gucci. So we're gonna put that on. Put that on. Slide it down. Snug fit. That's good. Alright, as long as our top piece is clean, we can plonk our lens on, but we might just give it a little wipe first. Get off any fingerprints. And the other thing I've got, whoosh, got some compressed air. You can blow that. Make sure there's no dust on it. Uh-oh. Jeez, that's a tight fit. So we've got that top half ready, so we're going to look at this bottom half. So I've just put some tape over those wires we've done, a little bit of solder mask at the solder points as well. Going to get this digitizer swapped over, because that other one had all those little scratchy marks on it. You can see them there in the light. So I'm going to put a nice fresh one on, give it a clean. Got the compressed air on standby. Get that all together. Those new digitizers are only $2 each or something, pretty cheap. I'm just putting the pry tool through the hinge flap there where the ribbon cable goes, because it looked like the part in there was almost connected. I know the ribbon cables are only thin, but it was not going to make it through because it was almost joined in there. So just needed to widen that out a bit safer, so we don't tear this cable. Because these screens are about $15 each. I think these ones cost me, so I don't really want to ruin it. Well, it's not a huge deal, but given the consoles themselves aren't worth that much, it'd be a bit of a waste. So got that ribbon through, slide it up a little bit. I just got to feed the microphone and the Wi-Fi antenna through as well. Feed it through and then pull it through and then let it sit like in the middle of the twirl of the ribbon cable, if that makes sense. And that will all fit quite nicely in once you slide it across. There we go, look at that. Just got to find that little hinge, and the little clear bit that goes in it came separately. The actual rotating barrel bit. Tight squeeze, aftermarket shell, tight squeeze. There we go, we're on. Screw it in, and then I need to find the buttons wherever I put those, so I can get them in next before putting the board back in. Alright, found the buttons. Cross is averted. Let's get them in. So there's a bit of a difference in the text font, and it's a little bit off center. Does that matter to me? I'm not that fussy. Pads, just give them a little push, squeeze, make sure there's no splits around those circular bits, because if there are, they will not work properly with it. Alright, those there, so that one's gone. Let's use my favourite little pen. Looks a bit flimsier like that, but it fits in. Now our pad fits on. So let's get this screen attached, board attached, and then test it before we put it completely back together to make sure that it works. good. Okay. Seems to work, so I think I'm happy to pull the pin on it and reshell the rest of it. No dramas. This part can be a bit of a prick, but we'll make it work. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Straighten the cable out. There we go. Right, that one's on. Look, it's still clicking, so it's fine. Maybe this time we'll go through it with this first. Might make it go through a bit easier. Yeah, that one went in better. Bam, bam, bam. I'm going to put the screw in that. We're going to put these in too. Power switch, volume slider, so make sure your slider lines up. So we're going to put on the left, put on the left. Quick, quick, boom. Look at that. Right. Still turning on. Finishing touches on then, since we know it works. Da-dun, da-dun, da-dun. Overall thoughts, with a few modifications. I mean, this thing's still popping out, for God's sakes. With a few modifications, you know, they do the job. Nowhere near as snug and nice as the genuine ones, that's for sure. It's $15. Can't go wrong, I guess. If you're really stuck with the, shell that was in the condition that one was in. So overall, not bad. It's just things like that. Thicker gaps, they're not quite right. They look a bit ugh. Got there. More imperfections in the actual shell itself there on the hinge. Just things like that throughout the whole thing. So buttons are different colour, text is different. We'll put our little serial number on it, why not? And there we go. Would I buy it again? Well, if I absolutely had to, yes. And I do have another one here because they're only 15 bucks each at the time. So, could do that later, but for now, are they any good? They're alright. They are alright. We'll leave it at that. So we did our board repair, got it all working. Shelled up nicely. It does, the colour of it is nice and white. Way whiter than what that other one was. So don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.